Mr. Speaker, thank you for doing this. I just want to start here. Why should Americans not blame you and your party for this shutdown? Is there no middle ground compromise between Democrats' push for these Affordable Care Act tax credits and, the fact that they might be expiring soon?
Well, the Democrats are arguing an issue that was not to be decided until the end of the year. Those subsidies they're talking about expire December 31st. What we're talking about is a simple stopgap funding measure to keep the government in operation so that we can have those debates. They're using it as a red herring. There's nothing for me to offer in a negotiation to put on the table, because what we passed out of the House and sent to our friends in the Senate is a clean continuing resolution. It's a short-term, 24-page bill everybody can read and see. All we said is let's maintain status quo for 7 more weeks so Republicans and Democrats can work together and figure out what the appropriations bills look like.
If that tax credit is not extended, will Americans' premiums go up when they go for open enrollment on November 1st?
Well, we have to determine all that, but again, that doesn't end until the end of the year. So that's a 3-month period for the Republicans and Democrats in Congress to debate and argue and figure out if there are going to be reforms to that or how it will be extended. And they know that. The Democrats know that. This is a political stunt because, very simply, Chuck Schumer and some of the Democrats here are afraid of the far left corner of their base. And he's afraid he's going to get a challenge in his next Senate re-election bid. So he's got to show a fight against Republicans right now. That's what this is about. And it's really shameful because real Americans are being hurt in a shutdown. And we've got to end this quickly.
Are you concerned about sticker shock, though, for your constituents in Louisiana who might be going to renew their health care plan through the state exchange and see a much higher price?
No, Republicans are committed to making reforms to bring down the cost of health care. In fact, we've done that in our One Big Beautiful Bill that we just passed and got signed into law July 4th. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, has looked at that and they said, you know what, those work. They're going to bring down premiums for the people who are buying health insurance and Medicaid recipients because we eliminated fraud and waste and abuse, and we got people who were ineligible recipients of that off the program. Look at the neutral, nonpartisan analysis of that, and they'll show you Republicans are the ones that are working to bring down the cost of health care.
I'm glad that you brought up the Congressional Budget Office because they also ran an analysis showing that if these tax credits expire, millions of people over the next 10 years will be kicked off their health insurance, in part because of rising prices.
Yeah, and we're talking about 2 different issues. That's the subsidies for Obamacare, but a lot of those subsidies right now are going straight to insurance companies, which does not help bring down the premiums. That's the point. So we've got to figure that out. But the reason that we have a stopgap funding to keep the government open is so that everybody can come to the table and get that hard work done. Right now, the Democrats are preventing that, so ironically, they're the ones that will be responsible if that doesn't happen.
Okay, rather than subsidies that go directly to an insurance company, what sort of middle ground would you support to keep the cost of health care lower?
Oh, we've got dozens, scores of ideas on the table. We have caucuses who work on this exclusively, and you've got committees of jurisdiction in the House and the Senate who have lots of ideas. But the point is, there's differences among all those opinions. And so to build the consensus and work through the deliberative legislative process, we need time to do it. So what we're trying to do is buy 7 weeks of time so that that exact thing can happen.
There's some talks right now that could be going on the Senate floor. Democrats, not so much at the leadership level, but kind of within the ranks of the Democratic Party, having conversations with their Republican colleagues about a path forward. If they reach a bipartisan agreement, the negotiation is successful, they vote on something over there, would you put it up for a vote over here?
Well, the House has done its job. All they have to do is pass the clean continuing resolution, and then we can talk about all this substance. But I mean, I can't project the future of what would happen. All the devil's always in the details. But the very simple thing to do right now is pass the continuing resolution. And let me point out, all those folks you just referenced have done that. They did it 13 times during the Biden administration in the previous 4 years. What we're doing right now is always done. It's always conventional. Republicans never voted to shut the government down during the Biden administration, even when we were in the minority. We're asking them to do the right thing, the conventional thing. That's all this is.
I just want to be clear here. Are you ruling out putting up a compromise on the floor for a vote if the Senate reaches one?
I am right now because we sent a clean continuing resolution. There's no Republican priorities in the CR at all. It's a very neutral, simple, straightforward status quo, which means I don't have anything to negotiate. The Republicans in the Senate don't have anything to offer on the table. In other words, they can't go to the Democrats and say, you know what, we'll pull this Republican priority out of it, because it doesn't exist. This is existing, by the way, Biden-era policies and spending levels that they themselves put into law. We're just asking them to continue it for 7 weeks. I mean, we're in the right here, and they're responsible for closing the government down.
The Scripps News Group has a couple of stations in Arizona. Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva was elected a week ago or so. You have not sworn her in during a pro forma session. Why the delay? Is it because of the fact that she has said she'll sign on to this discharge petition to release the Epstein files?
The delay is because the Democrats in the Senate have closed down the federal government. Pro forma sessions are not the best time to do that. We'll do that early next week whenever we get back. But we congratulate her for winning that. She's replacing her father, who served here for a long time. She'll be a productive member of Congress. But we look forward to doing that as soon as everybody comes back in session.
But you did swear in Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronis, two Republicans, from
and
Florida.
the government was open, not closed.
But that was during a pro forma session.
Right. But as you can see, there's nothing going on in the House here in the pro forma session. There's no one in the chamber. That's no time to be sworn into Congress. It's a celebration. So she deserves the same treatment everybody else has got.
Final question for you about drone attacks that the president has engaged on some of these multinational gangs that have been trafficking drugs into the United States. You're a constitutional scholar. Is it constitutional for President Trump to make to drone these enemy non-combatants if Congress has not declared war on them?
Well, you called them a non-combatant. I would disagree. I think the cartels are at war with us. Their fentanyl trafficking alone became the leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 45 for the last several years. They've killed far more people than any foreign nation has in any given amount of time. And so the president has to protect us. And when they take out one of those drug runner boats, they save about 20,000 American lives. I mean, this is very real. And most military analysts and most people who look at this, legal analysts, say this is justified. The president, the commander-in-chief, has a responsibility to protect the American people, and he's doing that very effectively. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
But shouldn't Congress take a vote on whether or not to authorize that directly?
I don't know that Congress is required to take a vote on that, but if there is such a time, we'll have those discussions and debates, and I suspect it'll pass.
Speaker Mike Johnson, thank you
Thanks
for your
a lot.
time. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
sure.